Accounts payable is paying your bills, the AP side. We can take a look at vendors here. These are your open vendors. You can see their open balance, what you owe. To add a new vendor, you would click on New Vendor here. You have the vendor number, vendor name. Payable to and memo will appear on the check. Mailing address, phone numbers, email. The default branch. If you are paying this vendor by bank account, you need to choose a default payment. If you usually pay their bills by credit card, you do not need a default payment here. But if you create checks for them, pay by bank account, you need to have a bank account here. This does become like a missed thing because it is not required by some of our customers. So just keep that in mind. I would recommend choosing a bank account. The APGL account, that is the default expense account that you can choose here for the vendor. If they are 1099 eligible, you can toggle that to yes. If they are a tax agency where you would remit sales tax to, you can toggle that to yes. You have the customer number, web page, the terms, taxpayer ID number, remit to address, and phone number, emails, and comments. And then you would click on create. Okay. If we look at a vendor, I'm just going to go to a vendor here. You can see it's a little bit similar to our customers with the tabs below and the aging over here. If you're creating a new purchase order, that would be underneath purchase orders. Receipts are receipts to purchase orders, which we'll take a look at in inventory. Your bills are here. If you need to add a new bill, you can go to the vendor, the bill tab, new bill, or come to bills on the main screen and then find that vendor. A reoccurring bill is generated regularly, so it could be monthly, weekly, annually. So if you're paying a vendor the same amount on a regular basis, you can set up reoccurring bills. We'll take a look at them. You can see a payment, so any payment you made to this vendor would be here. If there were any credit memos that the vendor gave you, you would be able to see that information here. These are the checks that were printed, and you can double click on them and reprint those checks if needed. If the vendor is a parts supplier, you'd be able to see which parts this vendor is linked to here. You can add notes for the vendor and upload documents if needed, and that's the part ledger. So let's go and add a bill. If we go to bills and new bill, we can add a purchase order if there is one. We'll choose our category. Our reference number is typically the bill number. If this is unrelated to parts and warehouses, we do not need to say resolve PO, direct expense, or warehouse. That's mostly for parts and keeping track of inventory in warehouses. You'll choose your branch, the terms. The bill date will default to today, but you can adjust it. And the due date will be from the terms. And then you can add your items. Now, one difference between Managely and Sedona is you need to add purchase items here. So these purchase items are linked to cost of goods sold and expense accounts. So they're choosing the item, not the cost of goods sold or expense account. And then you can edit and put your rate in. So if I'm paying rent and it's $1,500, I made an item called rent, $1,500. I do need to click on the dollar sign here in case there's more than one item or there's parts and items. It will add them all together. And then I have my save button. For newer customers, that dollar sign is sometimes missed. So just let your customers know they have to click on that and then click on save. Now it's saying I already have the bill number. So I'll just add to that and then save. That creates my bill. To show you where these purchase items are created, if we go to setup items and parts and items, vendor purchase items are added here. And again, they should be linked to expense and cost of goods sold accounts. This is not a requirement in Sedona, so it is something additional for Managely. Okay, if we go back to accounts payable, we did create a bill underneath bills. We went to the vendor and bills. You can do the same thing by clicking on bills here and clicking on new bill. You see these are all of our open bills as well. Just to show you creating a bill from a parts supplier, if we go to new bill, we should be able, oh, actually you would create it from the receipt. Hold on. Sorry, Sedona is a little bit different. If you are creating a bill from a receipt for a part supplier, you would go to receipts and then you would go to the receipt and then more convert to bill. So that process is creating a purchase order, then creating the receipt when the parts were received in. And then if you want to create the bill from the receipt, you go to the receipt, find the receipt, either under the vendor or underneath this bill tab, then go to more and convert the receipt into a bill. Yes, we want to convert the receipt into the bill. It's giving you the same reference number. You can adjust it if needed and clicking on save. And now it created that bill. Depending on permissions, you should be able to, like, you can't change the item, but let's say there was shipping or like a sales tax charge that wasn't originally on the PO, you should be able to add items and add sales tax or freight and things like that. So if there was sales tax on this, we can add the sales tax amount. Remember, you have to click on the dollar sign to update the total. $30 for the part and now $5 for the sales tax, and then click on save. Okay. So the best way to see all of your receipts and create bills from receipts is going to bills and then the receipts tab here. You can create a new receipt, which we'll take a look at in inventory, but these are your open receipts. And again, you will click on one, click on more, convert to bill. Questions?